Hey, everybody. I woke up this morning with a bunch of snot in my nose and my lungs, and you know what that means? That's right. It's time for another Talking Time Lapse video with me, your good buddy, Josh Davenport. As always, all the comics on RGBros.com, as well as all the videos over here on YouTube, are brought to you by the fine folks on Patreon, patreon.com/Josh Davenport. That's Brandon, Dan, Vivian, Matt, Mike, and Tobias. Thank you all so much for your support. Today we are going through the time-lapse video for RGBros comic Trippin, which is the third Star Wars comic for the month of January 2017. And yeah, I think I made three is maybe a little too many Star Wars comics for one month. Some would say you can never have too many Star Wars comics, and I would almost agree with them if I was just running a Star Wars comic site, but I like to vary it a little bit. So maybe I should have spread these out a little more. But you know what? What's done is done. So don't expect to see any Star Wars comics till mid-June. No, I'll probably sneak one in before that. But this is another Damn It Richard comic. And if you follow the comics, you'll know that Richard is a smart-ass character who shows up every once in a while in many different forms. He's a traveler, some might say. He gets around, takes on different faces, goes to different places. Here we are getting into the penciling on these ATST walkers, which is drawing them was a challenge. I don't draw a whole lot of hard edge mechanical things, and so even looking at reference while doing this made it, it made it a little easier, but it was not a walk in the park for me. I'm sure there are people out there who can just ace one of these, or people who are like, why didn't you use the straight edge tools? Like, hold shift and do all that. It's like, I like to be more organic in my work. Nothing against using those tools. Sometimes I do use them, which you can see in these videos if you're watching. But if I can draw freehand, I like to do that as much as possible. Which it gets me into trouble. It's one of those things. It's like there's really no cheating in art. It's like if you can get the result you want, use any method that you can. Whatever works for you is absolutely fine. The only thing that I think is technically cheating art is if you just straight up rip off somebody else's work. If you see something and you copy it exactly and then you claim it as your own, that is never right. Never. Or if you just grab somebody else's art and you pretend that it's yours. Both those things are always wrong. But when you're trying to make a piece of art, it's one of those things. Like even if I'm doing traditional art, I don't use a lot of rulers or straight edges and things like that. And I'm not talking down on those. I understand the reasons people use them, and I use them when I can't do otherwise. But it's just like, for some reason, I tend to get as few tools involved as I can. That's been my method. And it doesn't always pay off. But, I don't know. It's just probably like the ADD in me. That's just like, just keep going. Don't stop to pick up that ruler. I'll use the hell out of an eraser. I'm not shy about telling you that. That is not a crutch. None of those things are crutches. I don't know why I even said that. Artists' tools are not crutches, folks. It's the same thing. Some people will be like for this, I used reference images when I was drawing the ATSTs, and I looked at pictures of the uniforms for the drivers so that I knew what the hell they looked like, because I couldn't just remember out of thin air. I would have drawn those guys almost like the snow pilots from Empire. But there are people out there who would say, if you're looking at a reference image, you're cheating. And that's not true. It's just simply not true. Reference is a fantastic tool for any artist to use. And you're never going to catch me putting people down for that. I don't know. When I get going, I just like to use my pencil or my stylus in this case and just go to it. To my detriment, probably. Here we are, making all these semi-straight hard edges. and fudging around with, like I said, I used references, but I didn't constantly look at them as much as I probably could have, which is why the guns on the sides typically, uh, fudging around here and there. But again, yeah, fudging stuff, and then if it comes out the way you like it, I ended up enjoying the way this came out. So there you go. I'm sure I'll look back on it in 5 years and be like, "What the hell were you doing?" But right now, I love it. What's that? An artist who's going to be critical of their own work? Ridiculous. Ridiculous. But yeah, as I said in the opening, I'm a little under the weather today. I don't know if you can tell. I think I might have said something on the last one because I was feeling a little down then. And it's only gone downhill from there, folks. I'm I don't know. I thought it was sinuses at first. Maybe the first of the week it was, but now it feels like it might be something else. But it is giving me this deep timbre to my voice. Coming up with another hour of smooth jazz. Check out that sweet desktop. I know, wow, how did it end up with so much desktop in here? I must have gone and eaten a whole meal and just left this open. Like a genius. But you're getting it. You're getting it raw, folks. This is uncut, uncensored. No filter. And this is me going back after the fact, after I'd already inked everything in and being like, oh, damn it, I forgot to put the patches on their freaking arms. And having to go back and kind of, fill in the gaps here. And let me tell you, these things, they do not come out perfectly. But, close enough for rock and roll, that's what I say. Bloop, bloop, bloop. It's always a challenge when you got a comic where you have a lot of different grays going on, or beigeish tones or whatever. Just trying to make sure not everything just looks the exact same. And highlighting and shadows will do a lot for you in that respect. But yeah, here we go. These just had to go and fill in the whole thing, all one color. I mean, because they technically are, and then you just go back and kind of knock out a few shadows and highlights. I probably could put more scuff marks on them. I like to weather things up when I can. But this comic was already taking me forever with these ATSTs. And I think I got a little too ambitious with the background, but I think it came out okay. I mean, this background for the first panel was not too all bad. See, there you go. I'm using the straight edges there. And I think so. I'm not, like I said, I'm not against using those tools. Just half the time I don't remember that they're there for when I need to use them for things. So, it's me. It's not the tools, it's me. I am a tool. Here we go, putting in our forest background. Could have made it a desert right there, but bushes. A few happy little trees here. I watch a lot of Bob Ross on Netflix now that's on there. And, I want to think when I'm watching those, I'm like, man, this is going to make me so much better at doing landscape work. And, I mean, I don't know. I doubt that it's improved me that much. I think I've gotten a little bit better, but I've never been a good painter. I'm too nervous to paint. That's another reason why I like digital art so much, is because you have undo. In the real world, I typically, enjoy just drawing with traditional materials, pens, pencils, inks, paint, all that stuff. I love doing it, but I get so nervous when I'm actually working with those things I don't know. I freeze up sometimes. That's like I went to a meeting. There's this group around here. I live in around the Birmingham, Alabama area. And there's a group down here called the Salty Ham Cartoonistas that meet up every once in a while. And so I'll go hang out with those ladies and gentlemen. And everybody there is really good about breaking out their, pencils and inks and everything when they all sit around a table and they're cranking out art. And even though I do 2 of these a week, and I spend a lot of time on it, like as soon as I get in a room with those other cartoonists, I'm just like, not good. And I start freezing up. And then you get that brain. Are they judging me? Is everyone judging me right now? I know they're not doing that. They're not judging. They're all very nice folks. But I do get nervous. Get a little bit of social anxiety. I'm sure some of you can relate to that. The weird thing is, like, I did theater and acting for a long time. If I'm on stage or if I'm in front of a crowd, no problem whatsoever. Can act like a fool, whatever. But when it comes to just like a social situation where I'm supposed to be like at a party or just a small gathering of people, like, I don't know, I get the flop sweats. You all needed to know this. You need to know about my flop sweats. But I don't know. Maybe part of that, I'm experiencing it more these days. Maybe part of that is because I've been off the stage for so long. Been thinking more and more about getting back out there and doing something lately. I used to be in a sketch comedy group way back in the day. I did some improv before that, and I did stand-up a couple times. I might try to get back out there and do some of that. You're like, none of that's rubbing off into this work, you jackass. No. But yeah, I've been kind of itching to get back out and do something. So we'll see. We'll see what happens. Maybe it'll just take the form of another YouTube video. I've been thinking of maybe doing a couple of things on here. But again, time is always an issue. And right now it's like getting the comics out early for Patreon subscribers and just making sure I have enough ideas. You know, since you're rolling solo on this sucker, a lot of people have writing partners. I do not. Which, you know, it's different strokes for different folks, you know. Everybody does things differently. But having a writing partner, I'll tell you this, definitely makes having the ideas easier, I would imagine. Because, I could, right now, I feel like I could draw like 4 comics a week if I was just like overflowing with inspiration. But it's, especially lately, for some reason, it's been a little bit tougher to come by. It's just, it's wacky, man. It's wacky. Man, I feel like I've done a lot of weird, non-complaining complaining in this video. So, yeah. I don't know, man. How do you do it? If you're an artist, I know there's at least, sorry about that. It's that aforementioned phlegm trying to come up. If you do a comic or you work in digital or traditional art, drop me a comment down below. Tell me a little bit about your process. I'm always interested to hear how other people are doing their thing. And if somehow I try my best, I think, not to insult anybody. Just because basically, like I said, this is all the way I do junk, which I know is not the way. There's no gospel here. So if you do it a certain way, let me know. Tell me all about it. I want to hear from you. Here we are laying in the dialogue. And dropping in our word bubbles, which means we're getting down to the tail end of this. So, again, thank you all for sitting here with me, especially in my lesson state at the moment. God, figuring out where to put the word bubbles in this one was a real pain in the butt. As you can tell, if you see me shifting them around all over the place, just trying to get enough breathing room between each word bubble. Again, something that I do differently from people is, and maybe I'll change this in the future, I probably should, but, mapping out where the word bubbles are going to go ahead of time instead of just writing the dialogue out and then getting the last minute and being like, squeeze them in there. Try to give enough headroom for them. Trying to get better and better about that. I've had a few comics in the past where it's just been ridiculous trying to squeeze in the dialogue. But hopefully I'm getting better about that. Maybe one day I'll figure out how to do word balloons by hand so that I don't use that rounded rectangle tool from Photoshop so much. But until that day, I shall continue in this vein. But with that clang, written so expertly by my hand, I will leave you all, and I'll catch up with you again later next week around Thursday. So thanks again, and have a good weekend.